Okay, so we can actually build things through code in here the same way we could just like add cubes and spheres in Unity. So they have a bunch of different things. There's like a sphere, a box. We're just going to use a box for now. So I'm going to have you cut and paste this box in. And so I'm going to go ahead and just put this below the plane here. And we'll come back to here and we'll see what we have. So we see here off to our left, we have this cube built, right? And I gave it a color of red. So if you notice in our code, whoops, where am I? In the code here, right? So we set its position in our 3D world using this position HTML attribute. We set our rotation from the normal rotation of our cube by setting it here. So if you see, if I hit 0 here, the cube would be straight up and down. So I just basically put a little jank in it. I changed its scale from its default scale to twice as big as it would normally be, and I set its color. And so that creates us a box. Okay, so we can do primitives just like in Unity and have those here. So next thing to cut and paste is, well, what are some other parts that we have to have of a scene? And we kind of didn't talk about them. And one of those is light. So we want to have different types of light. By default, A-frame already, just like in Unity by default, there's a set ambient light, the amount of just like general light, and then there's that point light, that main light that creates the forms that you see, because without a directional light, we wouldn't see, everything would just look flat. So if we don't put anything here, A-frame just uses its default, right? So let's notice the lighting here. But we can absolutely override it in A-frame, and that's what we're going to do with these. So you see it's an A-light property, so I'm going to take that A-light, and I'm going to go ahead and just put that first in the scene, or almost first, right after the assets, and say there. Oops. I hit save because it auto saves. I don't have to worry about it. So now we go, and if you notice then how the light changed when you re-rendered the scene. Now we see that it comes a little more directional. It's a little brighter. So what I've done is able to change some of the scene. Besides that, some interesting things that we could do is, well, let's skip one thing and let's go down here because we're talking about things that are there. Now by default, there already is a camera in A-frame. We don't have to define it. We can override it, and if we override it, we probably want to do something fancy, something different. And A-frame has this thing called a cursor, a gaze-based cursor, because when you think about it, if I'm on my phone looking at this web project, I don't have controllers that I can interact with things. And actually, to set up controllers, you do need to do some things. It's a little bit complicated. We're not going to get that far in this. But what I can do is put in a gaze-based cursor. So I'm going to cut and paste this, and I'm going to make this the one of the first things here. So I just like to keep this clean. And let's see what happens there. So now note we have this little cursor right in the center. And right now it's not doing anything. It has no interactions. But we have that there so that when we hover over this, maybe we can make it do something. So let's make it do that. So if we go into our thing here, you'll see that I have this A box. And it has some extra stuff in it. So let's just cut and paste it first so it's easier to see over here. So I'll put it after this box, right? And notice its position is different. This one's +5, this one's -5. It has a different color. It has same scale, same rotation. But notice it has this new animation, and it has all this stuff inside this animation. We can use that to create various types of animations. Now, this isn't going to work with our plane yet. Right now, this is just to show you we can make animations. So I'll go over here, and you'll notice now our second box has got this kind of levitating effect that it's doing. Still, nothing happens when I mouse over things. So how do I use this cursor? Well, I can trigger so that only this animation plays when my trigger is over that. And so let's go back into our cut and paste, and we see our last thing. And it says to replace the red box with this. And you'll see that now. Well, it'll be easier to see when it's all colored in the thing. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to go to our original box and just go ahead and overwrite it. And now you just see I just, for simplicity's sake, kind of broke up these lines. White space doesn't matter when you're coding in HTML. But you see it has color, position, rotate, scale. Now it has this animation, mouse enter, and mouse leave. Now we don't have a mouse. What we have is a gaze-based cursor, but it's kind of getting all this again. This would be complicated for you to write. I obviously already wrote it so that you don't have to. But now let's go here, and now we see. Whoops! Oh, I must have moved my guy here. Let me change that. I'll fix this on the thing here. I'm going to make this -5. Okay, so now I've got this box over there. Ooh, I don't like that round. Let's change its rotation. Let's go there. How's that? Okay, there we go. That looks better. So now when I mouse over, whoop, whoop, and I'll update the cut and paste before you get it, obviously. So whoop, whoop, right? So as soon as my cursor goes over it, that's when it changes. And so you see how we can trigger various things in this.